Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Can you guess where I am? That's right, I'm at home, just like you. Welcome back. It's time to get back into our work with Scratch. And this time we're going to make our games a little more interactive and we're going to add some sound. So, the first thing you are going to do is go to scratch.mit.edu like we did last time and sign in to your account. So, I'm going to sign back into Jeff demo account. Put my password. There I am. As soon as you're signed in, you can go here to your account, the little drop-down menu, and go to My Stuff. And you will see your project. There it is, Zepp's World, what I made last time. In order to open it back up and edit it, you are going to click on See Inside. There it is. Okay, here's what we did last time. So if I press the green flag, my character moves around. Now, some of you may have had the problem that is showing on the screen right now because I forgot to tell you how to not make this happen. Now, maybe some of you actually maybe like this because he can walk upside down and up and down walls and stuff. But if you don't want your character to flip around like that, the way to solve that is to go back to that Motion tab and find this block called Set Rotation Style. There's a drop-down menu, left, right, don't rotate, all around. Right now he's set to all around by default. So if we just take this and insert it here in our when green flag clicked, switch to costume, go to XY and show, if you just stick it in there, then every time you start the game, it'll make sure that he's set to go only left and right and not flip upside down. Okay? Okay, so we have this working sprite, we have this little game. Hopefully you made some kind of backdrop on the stage. Hopefully you drew somewhere for your sprite to live. If you didn't do that, you should do something like that now. And if you have, then we can go forward. Okay, so go to my sprite. Make sure you're on your sprite. You might, if you're in the stage making your backdrop and you go back to code, you'll wonder where all your code went. It's actually in your sprite. Everything has different code. Each different sprite would have different code inside as well as the stage. So make sure you're clicked on your sprite so you can see the code you've made. Okay, so our goal today is to add a little interactivity to our game. So what we're going to do is we are going to make it so that when our character touches something in its environment, something's going to happen. And what's going to happen is it's going to show an animation other than the walking animation. So when it gets somewhere, it'll do something special. And it's going to play a sound. So it'll almost be like you can create a little dance party. So the first thing you have to do is draw something for it to react to. Now, a sprite can react to another sprite, or it can react to something in its backdrop. It doesn't matter. It's going to be reacting to the color of the thing that it's going to be touching. So that's what it's going to be sensing, is the color. So let's talk about that. So I'll go to my backdrop, and I'm going to make something that my sprite, when it touches it, it's going to move and make a sound. We're going to hear a sound. So the only thing you have to make sure you do, it doesn't matter how big this object is, what it is, but you have to make sure that it's a unique color. So make sure that it's a color that is not seen anywhere else in your backdrop or in your sprite. So it's a color that is unique in your game. So I'm going to make a little boombox. When my sprite goes over to its boombox, I want it to start playing a song. Almost like it. Click play on the boombox. Alright, and there's my boombox. Okay, so that's my boombox. Now I'm just going to make another shape in here because I'm going to show you guys two different ways of making sounds happen in this environment. So I'm going to make something else also. Alright, my project is saved. My backdrop is done, and now I'm going to make some color sensing happen. So notice that these spots are a totally distinct color, and the boombox is also a different color. They look very similar, but they're actually different colors of kind of blue, purple, and purple. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my sprite. We're going to go to the code, and we need to make something happen when our sprite senses these different colors. So we're going to start with a starter block like we always do. We're going to start with our classic one when green flag is clicked, so when you start the game. And we're going to use this control category, which we haven't really used much before except for our wait 1 second. Now we're going to start to use these silly looking kind of blocks that look like a mouth or something, and we're going to use this one called forever. And the reason that they look like a mouth is because you're going to put blocks inside of these blocks. And when I say forever, that means that whenever the game is started, anytime after that, anything that's inside of these blocks will always happen. So, but we don't want it to be constantly happening all the time. We only want it to happen when the sprite is sensing the color. So we're going to add another mouth block, and that one is going to be the if-then block. And this mouth is going to go inside of the forever mouth. So when green flag is clicked, when the game is started, forever, so this is always going to be true, that if something happens, always if that thing happens, then whatever goes inside of here is going to happen. Now, what goes in this little space here is called a conditional. So if this condition is true, then do that. So what's the thing that we want to be our conditional? What needs to be true? What needs to be true is that our sprite is touching this color of purple. So we're going to go to a category that we haven't used yet, which is called sensing, right below control, these blue blocks. And we're going to use the one that says touching color, question mark. Is it touching this color? So grab that and make sure when you put it into that little shape, make sure it highlights it. And then when you let it go, it'll end up in there. Okay, so right now it says when touching color, and it has this purple color in there. We want to make sure that this color matches the boombox color exactly. So I'm going to click on it, and you can either make your own color, or you can click on this little eyedropper here, and when you hover around on your backdrop, you can put this little square in the middle of this circle, just the very center, over the color you want to select. And when you select that, that's the color of our boombox. It's just going to automatically put it in there. Okay, so now we're ready to make something happen when the sprite touches the color. But before we do that, just remember that there are two things we want to happen. We want it to make a sound and show an animation. So I'm going to immediately just copy and paste this whole thing that we made. And that way, inside of one of them, we can put our animation, and inside the other one, we can put our sound. And that way, those two things will happen at the same time. That way, it won't have to wait to go through the whole animation to then play the sound. So for the first one, let's do the animation. Animation, you guys already actually know how to do. So remember that in your sprite, you've got costumes. So maybe I want to make my sprite do this little up and down foot dance, and maybe I'll use this legs out, shoulders up move too. Okay, so I'm going to make a dance move out of those three animations. So I'm going to really quickly, I'm going to go back to looks. I'm going to get my switch costume, and I'm going to put 3 of those in there. And 3 costumes that I want are step up, step down, and legs out. Okay, but remember, you need to put a little time in between each step. So I'll get my wait blocks, and I'll just put a wait block after each switch costume. And I'll make these really short. I'll make it like 0.2 seconds in between each dance move. Okay, let's test it out. All right, green flag. Walk him over to the boombox, and boom, he's doing the dance. Here, I'll make it bigger so that everybody can see it. He's doing the dance, and then when he walks away, he stops. Doing the dance, still doing it, stops. All right, great, it works. Okay, so now that we've got the animation working, let's make the sound happen. There is this whole other menu over here, sounds, right on top there. I don't have any sounds uploaded in here. And there's a couple different ways to get sounds into Scratch. And one way is to upload them from your computer. So what you would want to do is hover over this and go all the way up to Upload Sound. Click on that. And your menu is going to open, and you're going to find an MP3 from your computer and upload that. If you have any on your computer, that is something you'll need. You'll need to somehow get a sound file on your computer and upload it. I already have a song uploaded. and I've named it clip. So if I press play, you can see it's like maybe like a 10-second long clip that I cut out of another song, and I like it. So there it is. It's in my sound library for this sprite. Another thing you can do in the sound menu, if say you have a sound clip, but it's just too long, you don't want to use all of it, you don't want the whole thing to play when your sprite activates it. So if you just want a little bit of it, you can actually just highlight a part of your sound clip and try it out. Maybe even that's too long. If you just wanted that much, you could cut that out by going to copy to new while it's highlighted, just clicking that, and it'll make another clip. So if I click on that, it's just the shortened clip. That's all it is, and you can play with that if you want. Right, you can do whatever you want with it, and then you can give that a new name, like you could call that shorter clip or something like that. And that way you have that in your library to choose from. And now, if I go back to my code for the sprite, I can, let's go into this view so you can see my code a little better. So if I go back to here, go into the sound menu, you'll find a block called play sound clip until done. So there it is. That's my sound. That was the name of my sound file, was clip. So that's it. It already loaded. So now all I have to do is try it again. So green flag. Alright, walking around, nothing's happening. Go over to the boombox. Yeah, he's having a little dance party. Boy, that's an awfully big boombox. Right, and so it should play until the sound file's done. So now I'm going to show you another way to get a sound onto your game. So if you don't have any sound files on your computer, you can do it another way. So I'm just going to copy and paste these like I have been showing you. So copy, paste. Okay. So let's make this a totally new color, and let's use those dots that I made. So instead of this, I'm going to use these purple dots, which are all the same color, but they're a different color from the boombox. So same thing with this one. Great. Okay, so I'm going to make it first have a different animation. I want to make him do his peace sign. So first he raises his hand, then his hand is up, and then he makes the peace sign. Okay. And now I want to make it play a different sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the sound menu. Say I don't have any sound files on my computer. What I'm going to do instead is when I click on here, I'm not going to go to upload a sound. I'm just going to click here to choose a sound. And Scratch has this big long menu of all these different sounds. So you can get just like one note from an instrument. There's animal sounds. There's some like really crazy sounds in there. There's also I think there's some longer sounds. There's laughter, all kinds of songs that actually play. They've got some nice cheesy songs in there. Right? Alright, so you can get whatever you want. I'm just gonna find let's see, I'll find like a note of some kind that I like. That sounded like a fart. Let's use the sax. That's cool. Another cool thing you can do on here is you can make it slower. You can reverse it. So that's cool. That's weird. Maybe I'll speed it up again. Alright, let's use that. Why not? So if I go back to my code and I change this clip to C sax because I uploaded it. There it is. So now let's test this out. Alright, so if he walks over to these spots, it plays it over and over again. makes this peace sign. So if I go start this song, right, dances a little bit, then you can kind of play along with it, how quickly those notes play. So maybe I want to add a little time between them. So let's try that. Wait 1 second. Alright, so now if I start my song, so again, now it waits a second so that it gives me time. It's pretty weird. Yes, this is a strange one.
Okay, I can't wait to see what you all make with that. Now, if you want an extra challenge, I'm going to end the video in the normal way. I'm going to have a little logo play, but then if you keep watching, just in case you want, there's an extra challenge. What we just did was plenty that I've included after that with a little more programming to make your game just a little bit more interactive. Until next time.
Okay, so as an extra challenge, if you're interested in making your game just a little bit more interactive, one thing we can change when we're using sound is the pitch of the sound coming out of our game, coming out of Scratch. And you can use these blocks, change pitch effect by or set pitch effect to change the pitch. We're going to use set pitch effect to. So basically this changes how high or low the sound is that's coming out, so how high or low the notes are. So when I put that in there, it's going to change that pitch before it plays the sound. So right now it says change pitch effect to 100. Let's make that so that it actually changes while we're playing the game. So what we're going to do is we are going to, instead of that number, we're going to go to this operators tab. And we're going to find this little divided by operator. Operators can do all kinds of math on the fly during your game to make things happen. We're going to use this division one and stick that right in where that number was. So we're going to divide something by something else. And the thing that we're going to use in the numerator is going to be the position of the sprite in the x-axis on the screen. So if you go all the way down in the motion tab, you can get this thing called x position. So that's basically going to be a variable that, so whenever the x position of the sprite changes, that means as it moves across the screen, back and forth from here to here, that number, right now it's -39, right now it's 215, that number is going to keep changing, and it's going to keep changing the pitch. And we're going to divide that number by 10. And that's because these numbers, x 215, and when it's all the way over here, x -205, is too high. So we need to divide it by 10. So we need to make -205 20.5. So basically, when it touches that color, it'll change the pitch to whatever the x position of the sprite is divided by 10, and then play the sound. So let's try it out. Move it around. Is it working? Yep, so it goes higher and lower each time. So if I start my song, you can hear the song actually changes pitch too, and it speeds up. So, whenever you move your sprite around, you get this really strange experience where the song keeps slowing down and speeding up. And you can change the vibe a little bit, however you want it. Now it's real chill, real slow. But if my sprite wants to take things up a notch, you can go over here and have a more wacky dance party. If you really want to get it going fast, all the way to the edges.
So, if you got this far with me, play around with that, see what you can make happen. Maybe change the numbers a little bit, see what kind of crazy stuff you can make it do, make it your own, and I can't wait to see it. Until next time,